Connected Electric, where are they out of?
Sioux Center. They're a combination of a Sioux Center firm and a Rock Valley firm. I personally use them 3 times probably. Very good people.
Good.
Very good people.
Good. Well, we've talked all about it.
And this roofing is just for the roofing on the new part?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that one too.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I was gonna ask that
So
one too.
we're gonna have them do the roofing on the old part to
Yes.
make sure it's right?
Everybody's stealing my thunder today. Totally fine.
Yeah, I guess
As long as it gets asked, as long as it
I
gets
haven't
asked.
had I haven't had the detailed conversation as to if the old could be fixed before the new. I haven't asked that.
Oh, that's fine. I
I just when it works into it, I mean, that's their business.
want it to be the most
Otherwise
efficient
it-
way for them to be there.
They're the roofers, let them do it.
Yeah, but for whatever Ryan mentioned, there is a deadline to get this done.
Right.
So I don't want to muddy the waters with Nohava and somehow, I don't think it will. I don't think the re-roofing of the existing in any way would slow down this project, but I don't. First priority is going to be this project.
Agreed.
Any other questions? For anybody?
Motion adopting resolution 22, awarding the contract for the Community Wellness Center project in the amount of $2,260,111.50.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion to adopt the resolution number 20-2, awarding the contracts for the Community Wellness Center project in the amount of $2,260,111.50. Can we have a roll call on that, Beth?
Do the what?
We only add up to 15.
What's the question?
Somebody's already.
Well, or you
Last
just,
5 aren't contracts.
She's wondering if you should stop at number 15.
Yeah.
I don't know if you just need to say both numbers, I don't know, or did I need to word that differently? Awarding the project? Could change it to awarding the
I'll
project.
change that on my motion, awarding the project.
Okay.
Donlin,
Yes.
Goodchild.
Yes.
Wick,
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Knapp.
Yes.
Motion carried.
I think it's always amazing how a guy can get within 50 cents on it.
I noticed that, saw that.
It's amazing, you know. Somebody's gonna get hurt.
Especially with that kind of dollar.
Somebody's gonna get hurt on 50 cents.
Okay, moving on to D3, under the action items.
What's in the bottom?
Well, number 14, project engineering agreement. Attached is the amendment, number 3, to the agreement for engineering services for McLaren Engineering for wastewater system improvements. The amendment pertains to including the design and the construction of a sanitary sewer main as part of the project. If approved, the proposed schedule would be as follows. Set a hearing for March 17, 2020. Have a public hearing on April 7th, 2020. Have the bid letting on April 23rd, 2020. And award the contract on May 5th, 2020. And have the project completed by December of 2020. The administration does recommend the approval. And the financial impact will be coming from the added engineering services is $54,400 for a project total of $179,800 and added project estimate of $498,400 for a project total of $2,115,400. Questions? Anybody?
I can
Yeah, you want it, Jason? you want
explain further why. I did a couple council meetings ago. I was hoping to avoid it and have this project later rather than sooner. But what it does is it gets sewer out to Well, the length of Lincoln or Lake Avenue, right now it stops at the south end of Schuster Trucking is where it stops. Eventually we would need sewer out there. If anything on the east side develops, or if Lamar's Industrial Park South currently does not have sewer. If we want, eventually to develop that more, we'll have to get sewer out there. So the thought was to, push sewer off until we, get the water in and push sewer off. But the issue with that is, if we do that, it becomes more difficult at that time because the sewer is deeper than the water. And there's only so much room in that right of way to put both of them. So it makes sense to get the deeper sewer in, and then put the water in. So they'd be done in conjunction. They'll be put in, sewer will go in and then water will go in.
So does this sewer go up to the driveway to well 14, or does it go down the driveway too? Or are you stopping at the driveway?
It's going all the way to, what's that what's on the corner there? I remember it as Clark.
Well, that Clark, yeah, I'm not sure what it is.
It goes down to just past that property line.
We're taking it clear out there. So then, are people along there, are they forced to tap into it then? Because don't we have some ordinances that once it's available, they have to?
That's a little questionable. There's one acreage there.
Yes.
That acreage doesn't fall in city limits. So whether or not our ordinance and that
Probably wouldn't.
provision wouldn't
Probably
apply, I
wouldn't.
don't think
Probably
until.
wouldn't apply, and I'm just asking.
They could. It would, by their choice, they could.
But what I'm asking is, why don't we stop at well 14 and just, if we're not gonna hook anybody up, because you're 100% correct on, it's smart to do it to there now
Yep.
because of the depth. But can't we stop there and trim a whole bunch of cost of unnecessary, because if we need it next year or 10 years from now, we can put it in at that time.
Well, we can. We're saving probably, I was just looking at the plat, we're looking at,
It'd be a pretty decent distance.
well, I think what's left of, where the well lot is, what's left of that piece of property is 80 feet. I think the next one over is 300.
300 is what I
So
think.
380, maybe we say we're saving 450 feet of sewer being put in.
Well, it's a question.
I mean, we
It's a
can.
question.
It's all a cost. So 450 feet does cost something.
Right.
So if you're looking to cut something, that's.
Well, I'm just saying that we don't have an immediate need, and should that need arise, even next year, the additional would just be something we do at that time.
And there'd be no harm in doing that, Clark, because I would imagine we could probably just stick a manhole at the end, on the south end of our well site property.
Ron or Bill, you guys don't have an issue with like stopping there, would you? You wouldn't have? Okay, it's just a thought. Okay.
Any further comments on it?
Just one comment, because we're going down 24 foot at one time, do we need any special checking of the soil for Indian burial or anything we're gonna run into because of the width of that cut?
Dinosaurs. You're getting pretty deep.
I just rather find out now rather than run into it.
That I don't know, Ken. If any additional testing is
Yeah.
needed,
She's done all the
Well,
questions.
let's just check with the
I can check with them.
clear on it, just to make sure.
Got that down, Jason?
I'm getting it.
Looks like we're still gonna authorize the engineering agreement, right?
Yeah. Isn't that something that they should check into?
Yeah, I don't know.
They'd be responsible for making sure of that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'll check. I mean, there may be, what I didn't include was all the provisions of the initial contract. These are all just additional, so I don't know if there's any,
It's just a question.
some sort of
so-
testing, geologic, any
We can
kind
take a
of
look at
testing in the
that.
first
follow
one.
through.
Good question.
Okay. Any other questions?
Cut the project, some of these costs will be up.
Yeah, you might want to just keep,
Huh?
$3,500 for extra days.
Could be not exceed.
well, I don't know how much cheaper it is. Well, yeah, I don't know.
It's not to
It
exceed.
cuts construction costs for sure.
Do less.
It would cut construction costs, whether or not it cuts a whole lot off of
Well, it's clearly that we're gonna emphasize not to
engineering
exceed
design.
Yeah.
in the motion, right?
Yeah.
Motion authorizing amendment number 3 of the engineering agreement for McClure Engineering for well 14 project with, in capital letters, not to exceed fee of $56,400.
Second to the motion.
Motion made and second to authorize the amendment to number 3 to the agreement for engineering services with McClure Engineering Company Incorporated for the well number 14 project, not to exceed in capital letters, the fee of $56,400.
That way we don't have to come back, right?
Who was the second? Or not a second?
Nelson.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, moving on to the number 4 item. It has to do with the Lamar's Employee Bargaining Unit contract. The City Bargaining Committee and Collective Bargaining Unit negotiating team have reached a tentative agreement for a 2-year labor contract. The bargaining unit voted on Wednesday, January 22nd, 2020, and approved the tentative agreement. The contract will take effect July 1st, 2020, with council approval. The City Bargaining Committee and the administration recommended approval. The financial impact is the first year is equal to a 3% increase, and the second year is 2.5% increase. Questions from anybody on that one?
Motion to approve the 2-year Lamar's Employee Bargaining Unit contract.
Is there a second?
Yes, second.
Second.
Motion made and second to approve the 2-year Lamar's Employee Bargaining Unit contract. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to discussion. Mike, do you have anything on this?
I don't.
Clark?
I don't.
Rex?
Yeah, I brought up that stoplight last time, and I got about 30 people grabbing me, stopping me, asking about it. The couple negatives were, they want to know why we didn't build the road closer to the airport. And I said the FAA controls that, so we couldn't do that. Then some wanted to know why we didn't build it closer to the rail track. And then I said the railroad controls that. So they kind of understood, but then they sit there and said, yeah, that's where the race cars start, about at that intersection. And then I saw my friends in blue out there 3 or 4 times with a police car. And they had a few people picked up for going just a little bit over the speed limit. And the rest of the people all said that it's a good idea and we should spend money, which I rarely get those kind of comments. I can't remember when I got those kind of comments. So I think that we should make sure that the safety committee takes that up and starts talking about it in committee meeting, and then decide what they want to do. If it's gonna work at all, if it's not gonna work, but I think we should at least talk about it intelligently and then bring it back to council, so.
Well, I need to share that with
Next
you.
meeting.
I need to share, excuse me, Mike, with you on that, Rex, and you and I talked about that. Bring it to a safety committee meeting. I did go back and follow through and sit down and visit with Jason on it. And Jason, you might want to share with them what we've got to do prior to going to that safety committee meeting.
Well, what I wanted, before I set a date for a safety committee meeting, I wanted to have answers, because I'm assuming everybody's gonna have questions. I want to be able to answer questions. So I haven't, other than finding out what the traffic count is at that intersection, that is all. A little exploration on what traffic signals might cost. A couple red flags when it was brought up of sticking traffic signals there is one entity you mentioned, Rex, is that's awfully close to the end of the runway.
Yep.
So I would imagine anything of height has to be approved by FAA, and that takes a process. Then my initial thought was, can we just put them up? Can we just put them up without any kind of engineering, any traffic study? Can we do it without any of that stuff? So I wanted to explore that more. I think we can. Because
It's our pavement.
it's a city street.
It's a city street.
So I doubt we need any prior approval beyond the city council. But I want to make sure we don't screw up that runway by putting these things there. So that's got to be explored more. So at that time when Dick came to me, I thought it was a little premature to have that meeting set up, because my answer would have been, I've got it. The way it's going to work with the FAA is you're going to have to submit an application to them, just like we have in other developments close to that airport. They've been required to send in an application and get the FAA to stamp okay. Once we get that, then we should be clear to put the things up.
Let me ask you a question. Could we possibly look at a few signs to start, and work with our major industries who do the majority of the trucking, and get them to voluntarily push most of their trucks out to 24? Voluntarily. I think a lot of this can be avoided. It's safer for them. It's a lot cheaper for us. And we could, if it worked out for a half a year, that these companies would voluntarily instruct their truckers to use that as the entrance and exit to Lamar's. I think we could avoid a lot of this, even to the point of restricting trucks from entering and exiting off of 18th and 12th.
You want them to go to 24th?
I want them to go to 24th. 24th, 4th Avenue down by the trucks, anywhere where they're not sandwiched between that railroad and the highway. I think that this can be solved fairly cheaply.
I have a feeling,
And maybe we get pushback, I don't know.
well, I'm gonna guess, I'm gonna imagine if I was driving a truck, I would rather try to enter onto a roadway at a controlled intersection with a stoplight, where I knew oncoming traffic was gonna stop, rather than 24th, where anybody on Business 75, there is no control. So they're having to try to enter traffic when
But there's
When
great
there's gaps.
vision, but there's great vision.
well, I know, but yeah.
And I drive a little bit of truck, and I think this is solvable without spending a bunch of money and putting in a stoplight, and I'm not opposed to that, but I think,
I think you got a good point there, Clark, I really do. The only question I would have is, it isn't only our people here in Lamar's. You can't believe the trucks that come in.
I get that, but here's
From all over the
you're
country.
100% right, but every single one of those trucks that comes in, every single one of them that comes into Lamar's goes to a business, and they have paperwork that they have to pick up to take with them with that load. And that's when the industry can say, here's what we want from you. It's not gonna happen overnight, but eventually, and I don't think you'd get a lot of pushback if the industries would work with us, because we got a problem there. I agree, we wreck so hard in it. So it's an idea, I'm not on safety, you can do what you want, but it's an idea.
Good enough. Thanks a lot. Okay.
That's enough.
Well, I mean, just,
Any other-
let me get a little more information
Yeah.
before that's,
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up with.
You
what
make sure
you
it's
said.
not dropped, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay,
That Kenny's got,
what?
ask Kenny and Steve if they got something.
Well, I have a couple questions. Number one is that we don't want to make the problem worse. And as looking out my front glass windows, there's a tendency when they see a stoplight so many feet ahead for the trucks to speed up rather than slow down. So I don't want to create a situation where we're creating a different problem to solve one problem. And I would like to have the police involved in it, that if the DOT came in and did a study on that intersection, I think you'd find that they would not recommend that because of the amount of traffic. And so we need to find a solution. If it's a turning problem, then it's a different issue than just stopping cars. And so I guess this needs some study, and that's what the Public Safety Committee's for.
Okay. Anything else? Ken?
No,
Steve? Okay, we'll keep abreast of that and get back to you on this. Moving on to, excuse me, the discussion part, Jason?
I don't have anything in particular. I'm assuming we'll do a lot of talking during the budget workshop. So, David would like to speak. Since he's dressed up, he wanted to.
Yeah, I'm gonna take this off as soon as I can. Good afternoon. I need a little help from the council. Fireworks, you guys passed the 3-year agreement this morning with J&M. We've been with them for 25, 30 years. The problem we're running into again this year that we had 4 or 5 years ago is finding a shooter, since July 4th falls on a Saturday. Our show, in comparison to other shows such as Okoboji, Algona with the motorcycle rally and things like that, are thousands and thousands of dollars more. So thus those shooters get more money to do those shows.